This week, I've been spending time with Toyota's fabulous GD6, and as someone that's typically a Ford fan, you have to admit that Toyota bakkies are darn good. But what if you don't want to spend 800 to 900,000 on a top spec bakkie, but instead have a budget of around 600,000 and you want all the bells and whistles? Well, then it's time to think Chinese. They're owned partly by VW. It's fully loaded. A bunch of cyclists pulled up here and told me it looks amazing, and it does. It's different, and I think therein it already scores a point because it separates you from the crowd. It's real sturdy, and it has to be because it's a workhorse and it's supposed to be a bakkie that works hard. From the onset, everything feels pretty tough and well put together. This is the 2-liter version, and all of them come with the same engine. It's also the 4x2, which means it's two-wheel drive, so it's a proper leisure bakkie, and we're not going to be doing any crazy off-roading. It has 125 kilowatts and 410 Newton meters of torque, which means combined figures in the 2-liter category, it's one of the highest in its class. It's got a really plush interior with leather touches everywhere. This big screen over here, although these touch points can be a bit finicky at times. It's got the usual load burns, but I've got to say they're a little bit smaller than some of the other vehicles on the market. But it does have something that many bakkies don't have, and that's a sunroof. It's got a spacious and plush backseat area with flat floors as well, and a USB B and C charger. And speaking of chargers, there's wireless charging up front as well with multiple USB ports. So clearly this is a leisure bakkie at a bargain price. But let's take it for a drive, see what it's like. It's got 3 driving modes: sport, normal, and eco. It's got an 8-speed gearbox that is buttery smooth. The steering doesn't have much feel, but again, on a bakkie like this, I don't really need to have much feel. The ride quality is not the best. It's a little bit crashy over smaller bumps, and it does tend to float a little bit over the bigger bumps. But it's not terrible. And then again, it's a ladder frame chassis, and that's kind of what you're going to get. It does have a very car-like seating position, which I don't mind too much, but it does feel a bit strange because I do wish I could just pull that steering wheel a little closer. Did you know that bakkies are tested for South African conditions specifically? And one of those conditions is high-speed cruising. South Africans have one of the highest average speeds when it comes to bakkies. We want to get far fast. And therein, I think, lies one of the disadvantages about this bakkie, is that it's not developed for local conditions. So JAC has a hard task ahead of it, and one of those tasks is to prove to us that they can supply parts and that they can be reliable. Now, reliability we'll have to test over time, and if you are in the market for this, I would do some research into some T8 owners and hear what they have to say. Then, of course, there's the dealer network, and JAC boasts that they have 70 dealers countrywide. They also offer a 5-year warranty and 100,000 kilometers and roadside assistance just in case something goes wrong in your warranty period. There's the inevitable concern about safety, and although it's not front of mind for many South Africans, it is interesting to note that this car has got a 5-star rating with the Australian version of NCAP. And they've tested this vehicle and confirmed it gets the 5-star tick. I'm fascinated by this camera system, full surround view on the camera system. And you know when you corner, it shows the wheel that's cornering so you don't hit the curb. A little gimmicky, but I do kind of like it in tight spaces, especially for such a big bakkie. So up ahead we have a gravel road, so let's see what it's like on dirt. Remember, this is a 2-wheel drive version. And as we hit the gravel, not the best, not too bad, but it's not quite as sure-footed as some other bakkies. I do, however, suspect that if you change the tires and drop the tire pressures, it might change things up a little bit. It is smooth over the dirt, though. I could go to the other side of the farm like this. Towing capacity is 3.5 tons, and that is rated to carry 1 ton in the back there. The gearbox is matched perfectly to the drivetrain, and it goes. And then, of course, there's all the active and passive safety features that the Chinese have been loading these cars up with so that they can compete with the European counterparts. I would love to hear, if you're watching this on YouTube, what your experience with the JAC has been. And if you know anybody that has owned one of these and what their lived experience is like, and if they're able to get the parts from one of those 70 dealers. In an unsurprising verdict, the JAC is very good, fully loaded with kit and the latest technology, including safety technology. Gets a 5-star rating, but it's not perfect. But for 600,000 for this model, it's unsurprising. For your money, though, you do get a 5-year warranty and the certainty that knowing that if JAC keeps their promises, you'll be covered for the next 100,000 or 5 years. You'd need to go used if you wanted the equivalent Toyota.